This woman has 10 children. The 12 of them live in a rented house. Suddenly, the landlord wants to take back the house and tells them to move out within a deadline. The children told their father about moving, but he said their mother would find a way. But Evelyn is only a freelance writer, while the man works in a factory with a stable income. Unexpectedly, a car arrived with several people. Everyone thought it was the landlord coming early to take back the house. Actually, they came looking for Dick. It turned out that half a year ago, Evelyn used her son's name to submit an entry and won a prize. She received $5,000 and also a bicycle, a washing machine, a refrigerator, and some other prizes. She was so moved that she cried. Happiness came just in time. When Kelly came home, everyone shared the good news with him. They could use the prize money to pay the house down payment, so they would not need to move anymore. The neighbors praised Kelly for having such a good wife, saying he was very lucky. But when he heard it, he was unhappy and felt inferior. Soon, they went to the bank to apply for a mortgage. But when signing, the husband thought only his own name should be written, since the repayment account was his. Even though the wife paid the down payment, her name was not included. She could only smile to ease her disappointment. They moved into their new home as they wished. The 2-story house was much larger than before. The wife loved the new refrigerator. Although it was empty, it would soon be filled, but the husband thought she was implying he was useless. Kelly said the refrigerator was unnecessary, too big, and taking up space. He started to feel jealous of his wife. That night, he drank beer while watching a ball game. He had spent his wages gambling on the match. When his team fell behind, he went crazy and cursed loudly. The neighbors complained he was too noisy. Drunk, he rushed out to argue with them. The children were frightened by his behavior, but he did not care about anyone's feelings. Then he started arguing with the refrigerator, even grabbing a frying pan to vent his anger on it. Seeing things out of control, she told the children to hide. Because of his noise, the police came, but unexpectedly, he calmly chatted with them, even talking about the game. He calmed down, and the police left. Later, a priest also came to advise her, saying maybe letting the man vent was good, since family pressure was too heavy. In the end, they all expressed understanding of Kelly's behavior. He offered tea to his wife as an apology. Evelyn, as usual, forgave him. In the past, their life had been happy. Evelyn used to be a newspaper writer with decent income. Kelly was a singer with many fans. But because of a drunk driving accident, he lost his voice. He could only work in a factory with low wages, and he became addicted to drinking. The next morning before work, he pretended to ask who had damaged the refrigerator. He promised to fill it with food, but his daughter seriously said, "You'd better not spend the money on alcohol." The father instantly fell silent. His wife asked him for money to buy milk. He reluctantly pulled a few coins from his pocket. Just then, the milkman came. Since all their money had gone to the house, she asked to buy on credit, but the milkman refused. At that moment, the postman delivered a letter. Unexpectedly, it contained her contest prize money. Although not much, Evelyn always received surprises at the most critical moments. Luck always seemed to follow this gentle mother. Soon, more good fortune came. She won a free shopping opportunity. For 10 minutes, whatever she could load into a cart, she could take home for free. In the supermarket, she rushed to fill the cart with steaks and even asked the clerk for more caviar. She ran so fast, afraid time would not be enough. She picked all the items her family needed, snacks and canned food her children liked, and cocktails her husband always wanted. But she did not take anything for herself. The refrigerator was now full of food, enough for a month. But her husband was not happy. He drank gloomily alone. While the family was celebrating the free shopping, he suddenly lost his temper and threw all the food onto the floor. Evelyn gently tried to persuade him not to waste food, but this made him angrier. Kelly picked up the food and threw it outside, even trying to throw the cans from the table. His wife did not blame him. She silently cleaned up the food and asked the children if they wanted to try the caviar. When he finally calmed down, she served him his favorite cocktail. Evelyn actually understood the reason. Her husband was angry because of his inferiority. Although life was very difficult, Evelyn always stayed optimistic in front of her children. One day, Kelly came home early with a headache and brought back 2 bottles of alcohol. The milkman also came. His wife asked for milk money, but she already knew he had spent it on alcohol. Evelyn had to shamefully ask to buy on credit. Holding the heavy milk, she felt humiliated. But her husband accused her, saying he worked hard in the factory while she only stayed home writing casually. In truth, she was the one supporting the family while his wages all went to alcohol. She did not want to argue, but he would not stop. Suddenly, he lost control. The sound of breaking glass brought the children running in. Shocked, Kelly panicked, not knowing what to do, stupidly standing there. But Evelyn calmly told the children to ask a neighbor for help. When he tried to lift her up, he hurt her again. With the neighbor's help, she went to the hospital. Kelly stood still, crying, saying it was just an accident. That night, when she returned, he offered her hot tea to apologize. He admitted his mistakes and asked for forgiveness. She forgave him again, saying she did not need comfort, just not to be disturbed when upset. One morning, a phone call came. She won another prize, a brand new car and a free 2-day trip to New York for 2. She happily packed her luggage. But her son got arrested for stealing. To avoid jail, they needed to pay a fine and send him into the army. Because of this, Evelyn gave up the New York trip and even sold the car to deal with her son's problem. Although she did not go to New York, the other winners were very interested in her and wrote to invite her to a gathering. They were also housewives from Ohio who loved entering advertising contests. She wanted to meet them and asked her husband to drive her, but Kelly kept making excuses. Evelyn left sadly, without forcing him. Fortunately, her eldest daughter, Taff, had just gotten her license and became her mother's driver. For the first time in many years, Evelyn left that house that felt like a cage. The scenery on the road was beautiful, the outside world more wonderful. But then, their old car started smoking. Luckily, a repair station was nearby. The daughter complained that it was probably on purpose by her father. The daughter asked if her mother regretted marrying her father. She replied, "Life had happiness and sorrow." The daughter knew her mother had worked hard for the family and thought she deserved a better life. But Evelyn felt satisfied because her daughter was so understanding. Although delayed, Evelyn finally met the friends from the letters. With the same interests, they talked happily. It was the most relaxed moment she had enjoyed in a long time. A friend even gave her their contest entry spot, since the prize was large. But when she returned home, she found the door locked. In the garden, she saw the children. It turned out Kelly had locked them out on purpose. She angrily asked him to open the door, but drunk, he blamed her for leaving too long. She accused him of not taking care of the children and questioned why she should stay in this house. He pulled her violently, and the children rushed to protect their mother. Everyone now realized their father was only a drunkard. Evelyn could not bear it anymore and poured jam on him. At that moment,
A picnic or party, Jello's a boon. Made by 9, all set by noon.
she got inspiration for her advertising slogan.
With taste and shimmer shake appeal, Jello jollies any meal.
Later, he gave her a surprise, a desk and a typewriter, though secondhand, carefully cleaned. She was happy but suspicious of where the money came from. Bad news soon followed. The phone rang. The bank informed her that the second mortgage from 3 years ago would be due in a month. They needed nearly $4,000. Evelyn instantly understood. Apart from the desk and typewriter, the rest of the money had been wasted on alcohol. She waited for her husband to return from work and questioned him. She said,
This is my house, Kelly. My house.
the huge debt could not be repaid. At the dinner table, she told the children about it. They were all disappointed. She also brought out the last food from the refrigerator, planning to sell the fridge. Then she heard a sound behind the door. The children were praying their mother would win a prize. They all stayed by the phone. But the deadline to move out arrived, and still no result came. The family sadly went to pack their things. At that moment, the phone rang again. Evelyn calmly answered. The caller said, "Hello, is this Mrs. Evelyn L. Ryan?" And then,
"It's my pleasure to inform you that you are our first prize winner in the Dr. Pepper Time of Your Life contest."
Evelyn exclaimed. Oh my God, she had beaten more than 250,000 people, winning a trip to Switzerland for two, a car, a pair of watches, and $3,400 in cash. Evelyn was so excited she could not speak. Once again, she saved the family. Everyone cheered except the eldest daughter, who felt sad, knowing her father would never change. Of course, Evelyn understood. She comforted her daughter, saying, "Life is long. You can fight for the life you want. Forgive him, so you can truly enjoy this special day." Evelyn was endlessly tolerant toward her family, making people feel heartache for her. Maybe this was the only way she could move others and find happiness herself. She lived out her value, and her husband, secretly, had been redeeming himself. After Kelly passed away, Evelyn discovered that he had been saving money in her name for decades, enough for her retirement. Their children all went to university, scattered across the country with their own achievements. Only her daughter Taff inherited her writing talent and turned her true story into a book. This is not telling women to always give in, but life is hard. Do not let yourself suffer because of others' problems. With hope in your heart, life will be happy. Thank you all for subscribing and commenting.